Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Another day in paradise, see what's going on out there. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Nana. Hi, Richard. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Matt, Elena, Linda. How you guys all doing tonight? I don't know where everybody is. Please hit that share button, though. Definitely share it out as much as possible. And hit that reactions, those thumbs up, give me more viewers. Get people in here, see what's actually happening in the world. Another devastating blow, though. U.S. agriculture takes a huge blow, and a mysterious fire that's destroying grain. It's still destroying grain as we speak. That feeds Americans. One of the oldest mills belonging to Graincraft in Pendleton, Oregon. The fire started, of course, Wednesday at the facility. Of course, at that point, none of the silos were on fire, and employees were evacuated. But then Tuesday afternoon, after the fire was put out, Tuesday morning or Monday morning or Wednesday morning, the fire got put out in the factory. There wasn't any more problems. Tuesday afternoon, black smoke started coming out from one of the mills. Now it is burning the silos directly. Visible flames have been seen about 4 a.m. The fire had reignited and is fully engulfing the mill and dry grain storage inside the structure. And the other silos are now burning. This is bad news. Hi, Billy. How you doing tonight?
Chris, what's going on, buddy? What's the good word?
Oh, not much. Just craziness out there. Just craziness. I mean, can you believe? I don't know if you know this fire in Middleton or at Pendleton plant, just burning all this wheat, all this hard and
No,
soft wheat.
I didn't hear about that. I'm working right now, and I get off at midnight.
Yeah, we're
When
talking
when
a
did this
third of the
happen?
country's wheat is there, and the silos were all full at the time, maximum
Wow.
capacity when the fire started.
Yeah. And the fire just happened to break out at that.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't had a chance to call you since this whole FBI raid nonsense. I wanted to give you a few thoughts on this. Number one, is it true that, like what Trump's team is saying is that the FBI was there on June 2nd or 3rd, and they were going through the boxes, and then they told Trump's lawyers just to put all this stuff in the room and put a new lock on the door and keep it more secure. Is that true?
That's not only it. What they're actually doing is trying to get Trump on violation of Espionage Act because
No, no,
then
no.
he can never
No,
run for
I don't want
president
to jump
again.
forward. I want to make sure.
Yeah,
I just
National Archives had the FBI. The FBI was there on behalf of the National Archives, checking to see what documents were there. At the time, they
and that,
didn't say any of them were top secret. I mean, there
okay.
was some classified documents, but
All
he
right.
had every right to have them.
Okay, so that was true. That happened on June 2nd or 3rd, right? And they
Yeah.
told them to put a lock on the door and make that room more secure. So that's true, right?
Yes, but Secret Service
Okay.
are always stationed at that residence, so there's no
All
problem there.
right, hold on. I want to make a point though. Just slow down a second. So that's true. So now we know that's confirmed that they put a lock in that room and it was secured. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have to know who had access to the key to that lock to that room. Now, okay? Because here's what I'm getting at, Chris. This whole this whole thing about the mole doesn't make sense because if that room was secured and locked up since June 3rd, okay, those documents were secured, okay, and only very few people had access to that door, that room. How can this mole have seen those pages and then call the FBI and say, hey, you should come over here and check out, I think there's some classified material in there. You understand? It makes no sense.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The mole wasn't just a mole. Supposedly the mole works for the FBI. You're going to tell me Trump did not vet his employees to know if they were an FBI agent or not? Supposedly, this is what's coming down. The mole isn't just some mole because that's the reason the judge signed off on the warrant because it was an FBI and a direct FBI employee that was working
Okay, but
undercover.
again, though, But this is June 3rd.
So he would have known about the documents, whether the documents were sealed behind a door or not. That's the problem. So he knew about the documents. It gives him probable cause to go in to raid. Of course, only 4 items. 4 items were or 3 to 4 items were deemed top secret. Total out of everything they took.
Yeah.
3 to 4 items. We're not talking cases
but again,
of paperwork. We're talking single papers.
I'm trying to figure this out, because if that door was locked, and I would love to hear from Trump or his lawyers to know who had access to that room at that point. Once they locked it, they put a new lock on. Who had key? So who had access to it? I'm sure it was very, very few people. So between June 3rd and then a week ago, when this warrant was issued and they went to the judge on Friday, when did this person supposedly saw these documents and then came back and told the FBI, hey, there's some documents that you guys should see about?
Well, not only that,
that's what I'm having a problem with.
Not only that, raids do not go down like this one went down. Never in history does the FBI. It all comes from headquarters. Anything that's going against a big politician like Trump, it all comes from headquarters. It all comes from D.C. So D.C. did not decide that they needed a warrant from a state judge. They could have had a federal judge sign the warrant in D.C. No, they couldn't find one because they knew this was frivolous. They threw it together purposely to try to attack him on political grounds only. And now the question is he right? If he says he's not going to run for 2024, well, all of a sudden, will this case just disappear? I guarantee you, this whole thing will disappear. They want to get him for bullshit charges on something that he didn't even do wrong. And not only that, the documents they're stating are classified are documents you can search online because he declassified them when he was in office.
He says that he declassified everything before he left office.
Yeah, he did. He released a whole data dump. Remember all the documents? People were like, oh my God, I can't believe he released all that.
Here's my theory. Chris, here's my theory. And some people might say I'm overreaching, but I believe this. Biden is already on record, okay? They showed a quote from him back in spring. Biden is on record stating that Trump should be charged with a crime in relation to January 6th, okay? Now, there's also numerous clips of the liberal news channels all complaining about Garland back in July, saying why it's taking us so long, was he scared of, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, it is my gut feeling that Biden either, one, pressured Garland to issue this search warrant, to go ahead with it, or he ordered Garland to go ahead with for the search warrant, because the 90-day grace period, the so-called unwritten rule where you don't do anything where it might manipulate or interfere with people's judgment when it comes to an election, is coming up very soon.
Well, here's the problem. Garland issuing or asking for or going to get the search warrant and getting it signed would have been done at a federal level, not a state judge level. They wouldn't have used a judge here in Florida. They would have used a federal judge in D.C. to have a sealed warrant in D.C., much harder to get it unsealed. They didn't do that.
Well, they went to a judge who has a history of social media ramblings and remarks that he's anti-Trump. So
yeah,
I mean, that's another
obviously.
problem.
And they're trying to say that some documents may contain information about nuclear weapons. It's unclear.
That's all bullshit.
The FBI sees such documents.
That's already fading away. I don't even hear about that anymore. Today I was watching the news all day before I went to work. I didn't hear anything about the nuclear documents anymore. That was all bullshit.
Even the Hill today was writing about it again. I mean, basically what they're trying to do, though, is do the same thing they did to Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, anybody that called out that there was a problem, Chelsea Manning. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, like I said, my gut feeling, I'm telling you, Biden is involved in this search warrant. He's involved, and I hope it comes out. I hope there's some kind of whistleblower that says, "Hey, you know what? Enough is enough, man. We got to tell it like it is, or something." I'm telling you, Biden is behind this search warrant. I'm willing to bet my pension check on that.
Well, Biden, you mean Susan Rice?
Well,
the puppet master.
The Biden administration. Yeah.
The puppet master. Same one that was behind freaking Obama and controlling him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have, like, even if you look at all 33 cases of stuff they took from his office, only 3 cases had labels that said anything about classification, and only 1 had top secret classification. And in that, according to their own documents, only 3 articles were in that top secret classification box. Only 3 items. So that may be a big box. Guess what? There was only 3 sheets of paper in there. I mean, what were the papers? Was it something that had to do with post-presidency? Like, because he gets daily briefings still. All ex-presidents do.
Well, again.
And those are classified.
I would love to be able to ask Trump one question. Who had the key for that door, and who had access to that key? And was that door ever opened up since the last time they were there in June 2nd looking at the papers? And if they say no, nobody was there looking at it since the last time, then this whole story about a mole saying that, hey, he came across these papers, you guys should look at that, is bullshit. I think it's a lie.
It's ridiculous.
How can somebody report on something when the stuff's locked up secured?
Well, that's the thing. They had an inside man. The FBI had an FBI agent working as for Trump under other pretenses, stating that he saw this. All he did is have to state that it happened. He can perjure himself all he wants. That's the reason they sealed the affidavit to get the freaking warrant.
Again, but who had access to that key? I'm sure the key wasn't hanging on the wall on a hook that said, Trump's presidential papers, like a bathroom key in the school. I'm sure that key was locked up someplace, and very few people had access to it. I want to know. I want somebody to ask that question.
Yeah, but I also want to know, like, what are they really digging for? Because 30 cases of paperwork had nothing to do with the government. Those are business documents, private business documents. They're looking to charge him with any kind of crime they can find.
Yeah, that's what they're looking to do.
They took a warrant, went outside the scope of the warrant, obviously, because you can't just seize documents just to seize documents. If they have nothing to do with what the case is, they're not tangible. You can't just take them.
They're trying to make this guy and his family so miserable where they'll just say, you know what, screw this, man. This shit ain't worth it anymore. That's what I think they're trying to do.
Yeah, we're seeing it happen.
And let me ask you one more question before I go. Now, the security cameras were left on, thank God. Does Trump have the authority to release some of the security camera footage to the public?
The problem is, that's a twofold right now, because he still has to see what's going to happen. Because if they bring up any charges or try to state a document exists that doesn't, he'll let them know that he can see whether that document existed or not by showing those videos. If he doesn't show the videos publicly and doesn't release them, then he has leverage. So if they try to claim there was a document that they found that he didn't really have, you know what I mean?
Because the only reason I'm asking is, why would they be so concerned about asking the lawyers to have the video cameras turned off? Like, why? What are you afraid of? Like, why? Because the cameras.
And that's the thing. You can't turn off cameras while you're producing. You're in the state of Florida. I know because this happened here. You're allowed to record police officers or any law enforcement in the course of their duties, as long as you do not directly interfere with them.
Chris, that's anywhere in the country you could do that.
It's actually not, though. There's certain states that you cannot record audio still. You can record video, but you cannot have any audio recording with the officer's voice in it. Believe it or not, certain states you can still go to jail for that because that is still wire tampering, or it's a consent law. It's ridiculous, but it still exists.
Well, anyway, let's see what happens, and
It's
I
just
just hope. I just
it's
hope
more of the
that.
kangaroo court shit, and we'll see more of it coming forward.
Yeah.
Kangaroo
All right,
court
buddy.
all over
Listen, you
again.
have a great night, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. God bless.
You too.
Well, thank you, Billy, for calling in. We definitely appreciate you guys' calls when you guys call in and have conversations with us live about issues, especially what's going on with Trump. It's ridiculous. But this shortage and this fire that happened at one of the top 3 grain processing facilities in the United States, silos full capacity of finished grain and full capacity of their unprocessed grain. So all the silos were fully most states, but there's still some states that aren't. But this is ridiculous. The amount of wheat we just lost. I mean, it's basically flour. It's Pendleton Flour Mill. I mean, also known as Fisher Flour. They sell bags of flour under a whole bunch of different brands and everything else, but it is ridiculous. This mysterious fire took place, burning all this product, and of course, one of the biggest processing plants. I mean, the mill is known, highly successful. It's Power Brand and Mindoco's and Walmart brand and Graincraft. I mean, it operates everything. It sells for pretty much everything, the flour. So this is going to be a huge loss this year. This is the 3rd top producer of flour in the United States. It's just devastating. On the heels of there is no inflation. We're at 0% inflation, Mr. Trump. Or Biden. Biden calling everybody up. Of course, jobless claims raised to a new 8-month high. Of course, they're saying that all these job numbers don't exist. You know, the government's saying the jobs are good. We have so many jobs available. Then why are so many people getting fired and laid off at record rates? Over 262,000 people applied for unemployment just last week. Just last week. That is just Biden. Biden doesn't need a vacation. He's on vacation permanently. I don't even know if you guys know that. But this is ridiculous. Almost 250,000 people a week are filing for unemployment. And the number, of course, of unemployment benefits rising. The problem is you can't even count all those people, because if they received unemployment within the last year, which a lot of people have, they're not eligible for unemployment again. They've already used up their weeks. So yeah, the jobless number or the unemployment numbers are bad, but they could be 100 times worse right now by the amount of people being laid off daily. The amount of people collecting traditional unemployment, this is the only people that count on unemployment, just traditional, not extended, is 1.43 million people in the last week of July. 1.43 million people. That's easily over the 400,000 mark. Easily. Nobody wants to see what's happening. Nobody wants to open their eyes. Russia's pushing more nuclear threats, saying the incident inside of Ukraine. We know the incident inside Ukraine. Russia has control of the power plant, and Ukraine's bombing it. Ukraine is actively targeting it. It's going to be an unprecedented nuclear catastrophe for Europe. It's going to be, and it's going to happen. There's no stopping it at this point because Ukraine's not going to stop firing on Russia, and Russia's not going to stop firing on Ukraine. They're fighting over a power plant at this point. Not only that, Russia started launching airstrikes. Not just a few, a lot of airstrikes. Russian forces launched airstrikes across eastern Ukraine. Of course, Ukraine is saying to make up for the loss of personnel and equipment they have suffered, but it's just all they want to word stuff and make it look worse and look better or whatever. But Russia is reporting shelling Ukraine forces on the northeast and the east and the southeast of the country. And Russia is attempting to advance in the east. And they're being successful at this point. Russian forces shelled numerous Ukrainian towns, villages, and fierce contest. Its city, Slovaskia. Of course, air sirens are going crazy. It's not going to stop anytime soon. People starving, Trump getting pummeled over literally a political war. Having unemployment numbers, unemployment may be only 3.8 or 3.9%, but that's without the 2.8 million people that are unemployed right now that cannot receive unemployment because they've already received it. They got laid off again. They received their unemployment benefits. They finished them. They finally got work back because COVID restrictions got taken off. But now they don't qualify for unemployment again because it's been less than a year since they received it last. People don't understand that. There's a reason why the 100,000 jobs didn't hit immediately when Amazon laid those people off. We're in a cluster of problems. And it's sad to say. Where we go next? Don't care about us. China and Thailand working together. We know that's not a good thing. It's only a matter of time before China takes Taiwan. And what do we do then? Build back better? Or this infrastructure, the great Inflation Reduction Act that's getting passed? It's a disaster. I mean, oil prices expected to go over $130 a barrel before winter hits. Yeah, oil prices look like they're coming down now. But the problem is, once the Strategic Reserve stops releasing oil for free and flooding the market with free oil to make all the oil prices drop, the problem is those prices will drastically increase. It'll increase at the hardest time of the year, when people are using more oil for fuel, to heat their houses, to keep their families warm. That's when it'll hit. And it's sad because nobody's even thinking about what's happening because everybody's looking at what's happening right this second. And yes, there's a lot of problems right this second. But come winter, we're going to be in a world of hurt. Now we know there's going to be wheat shortages. That's not a question. Yeah, we'll be right back, $6-7 a gallon. And then come hard of winter, that'll be when it's the worst. Rolling blackouts expected this winter. That's not a question, as they shut down 2 other coal plants in the United States. Of course, Bill Gates working on his plan to initiate a 1 billion-degree Hydrogen boron nuclear fusion reactor. Yes, 1,000,000,000 degrees. That's a lot hotter than the sun. You're on Earth. Nobody cares. Put a band-aid on it. Nobody put a band-aid on it, turn around, walk away. Let's go have some fun. Let's go play in the park and not pay attention to what's happening. Your vote's going to matter this year more than ever. When your family's hungry or cold, the number of people going homeless right now is through the roof. Interest rates, they keep raising interest rates, and everybody's like, oh, well, it's not really affecting me. It's affecting a lot of people. Rents are going up drastically because people that buy these properties have flexible mortgage rates. So their interest rates get raised on their mortgages. Their mortgage rate goes up, they pay more for that house, and they have to charge more. Or say you bought a house and you're on a variable rate mortgage. Now you're paying more than you can afford. Say you got laid off because companies can't afford to keep employees right now. Then you're losing your home. And it's happening all across America. Families are struggling just to figure out if they're going to feed their families or pay their power bill. And it's happening all across America. What is our government doing about it? Oh, well, we're gonna pay $20 billion to farmers to not produce food. That's going to help. We're going to put a whole bunch of money aside for electric cars where you can get a credit when you buy them, but make it unattainable credit because none of the cars qualify. None of them qualify at this point. Not a single electric car on the market qualifies for the new credits. And that is sad to say. What does that bill actually do? That's what I want to know. Because all I see it doing is going after Americans that are at their weakest and most vulnerable point in history. It's not going to stop inflation. It's not even going to slow it down. In fact, it's probably going to increase it. And that's something we got to face. Our government doesn't care about you and me. They care about how it looks in the big picture. What they can make it look like. What they can dream of. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Car drove in a crowd of people in Pennsylvania. It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. That was 23 minutes ago. It actually happened. Yeah, there was a car that drove into a crowd of people. 13 people were hospitalized in relationship to the crash. Crash happened about 8:30 p.m., so about over an hour and a half ago, actually. This happened over an hour and a half ago, that crash. Oh, fundraiser for the police department or the PA fire victims. It's sad. It's sad. But I have a feeling as temperatures get colder, we'll be seeing more of this. The problem is people don't have money for oil. They're going to run their stoves. They're going to leave their ovens on. They're going to leave their burners on to keep their families warm. And we will see more house fires, more victims, more people dying, people freezing, like what happened in Texas. If you're ever going to invest in a 401k, it's the worst way to invest money because you only get half of it when you take it back out. The world we live in is just gone crazy. Gone crazy. And Americans are going to go hungry. The great cattle slaughter or sell off of cattle already happened. Meat prices are already going up more even after that. I mean, literally, I buy steaks. I mean, so I even looked at Walmart steaks because, I buy decent steaks usually. But I looked at Walmart's beef steak prices and they're junk steaks. But when they want $18 for a New York strip, a single steak, that is ridiculous. For a piece of junk meat. Hamburger meat's going for over $5 a pound. How? It's crazy. It is crazy. If you guys can afford to support the channel, please do. We desperately need the support. We're glad you guys are here with us every night. Any donations are greatly appreciated because every video I do gets copyright struck from Facebook and YouTube. My own voice is not my own, according to them. I do not own the rights to speak, I guess. But God bless you guys. God bless America. Thank you guys for being with us. We will be back, of course, Monday night. Giving you guys any updates that are happening. Yeah. Go to a small business. Go to a local butcher. Buy a half a cow. You actually save some money that way. But good night. God bless. Stay safe.